Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I wanted to ask you a question, and I wanted you to think about a couple of questions for yourself. And what is the purpose of this video really all about? Okay, so that started off really deep, didn't it? Ask yourself the question, what kind of man are you? Or what kind of man do you want to be? Because how you look at yourself and how you actually are realistic in your analogy and what you want to become and where you want to go in business or in life, asking yourself the kind of question of what kind of man are you and what kind of man do you want to be can play a huge factor in how successful you are in both ways. Because if you're a bit of a crook, right? If I give you an example, if you're a bit of a crook, say you cut grass or you clean windows and you don't do it very good, or you do half the job, and you've got your customer and you go and give them the bill, you get the money, you go off and you do your job, you carry on as normal with the next job. Eventually that customer will notice that you don't really fulfill your end of the bargain, do you? That you're not living up to what you're selling them. And so what they will do is they will get rid of you. And then you'll get somebody else. If you're a real crook-minded kind of person, you'll get somebody else and you'll do the job, you'll get paid. When you half do the job, you get paid, and then the customer will get rid of you eventually because you're not living up to your end of the bargain. And so you understand that a bad reputation can form very quickly. And so this is something that I totally believe in, that a good reputation is hard to make and a bad reputation is hard to shake, right? Because a customer will, if you do a good job, a customer might, just might, tell 1 in 10 people about the good job you did, if you're lucky. If you do a bad job, the customer will tell, most likely, about 7 or 8 out of 10 people they meet how bad a job you did, about the bad experience that they had with you. And so you can see that a good reputation is really slow. It is a slow process, but a bad reputation can happen in a flash, and you can have that reputation all around town very quickly, or on Facebook or wherever. And so stopping and asking yourself the kind of question of, well, what kind of man am I, plays a part in how you are in your normal day-to-day life, secular from work, feeds into how you are as a person in work. Are you respectful to others? Are you courteous? If you don't have manners and respect in your normal day-to-day life, you're not really going to be successful at it in business. And people can see through that kind of thing. People aren't stupid. There's a lot of people are, but there's a lot that aren't as well at the same time. And so kind of asking yourself the kind of question of what kind of person do I want to be, and then looking at the information of how to change that, how to achieve that goal, set the goal and look at ways and how you can achieve it, can play a huge part in being successful at being a good man in both your normal life and your business. All right? And that's something that I feel is very important if you want to be good at your job. Not just good at the work you do, but good at business, good at growing your business. So the second thing is trusting your gut instinct, was what I was going to talk about. When somebody talks about something, do you listen to the little voice in the back of your head that tells you this person's talking total rubbish? Or hang on a second, take note of that. That was really, really interesting. That was really, really practical. I could really use that kind of whether it's an idea, whether it's a process, whether it is just a type of thinking, your little voice in the back of your head will tell you, hang on a second, there's something in that, listen to that. Do you listen to that little voice, or do you just kind of, yeah, I know it all, I have all the answers, I don't need any advice from anybody else? See, the little voice in the back of your head, we all have it. It's just whether we all listen to it or not. And that plays a huge part, in my opinion, as to how you kind of balance out the kind of information that you get and whether it's practical for you and your business. So the third kind of area is using your thinking ability. Now, the 3 areas that I've just highlighted there, they all intertwine together, okay? Both your gut instinct, how you look at questions for yourself and using your thinking ability with others. So not just yourself, but with others as well. You see, there's a lot of information here on YouTube. There's a lot of information in books, audiobooks, seminars, webinars. There's lots of courses you could do. There's a guy on YouTube that I've seen, and he travels the world and he does these different seminars, and he tries and helps people to achieve their goals of wealth. Right? And he goes all over the world to do it. And it sounds great. And some of the things he talks about is genuinely interesting. But for me, I stop and ask myself the question, well, what's his motivation? And so I did a bit of research on the guy himself. And I looked at his background. And he talks about making all this money and helping people to achieve their goals of becoming millionaires. And the guy's only got a couple of $100,000 himself in the bank. And his main source of income? Going around doing the seminars, teaching people how to become millionaires. And every time he does these seminars, there's a lot of people look at it and subscribe to it or pay to go and see the guy and listen to the guy. And then the man, he has very nice words that he talks, very sweet words to the ear. Sounds very good, sounds very, very nice and practical. And yet, when I stop and I think about it, I'm thinking to myself, what is it exactly that he is offering of value there? Really, it sounds to me, from the information I looked at it, was that the guy was just giving them a very good feel-good factor about themselves and the direction, and they're focusing on this and he's telling them to focus on that. Well, if you do this and you do that, why can't you do that? And yet there's nothing of the basic information of the logistics that he is included in his speech. The guy was telling him, why don't you do this? Why don't you just employ somebody to do this and do that? As if the man knows what he's talking about. Yes, okay, fine, in an idealistic world, that sounds very good. But the man has no information about that individual's business. So now why am I going off on a bit of a tangent about that? Because I want to highlight thinking ability for yourself. Don't just stop and take whatever anybody's given you. Ask yourself the question, what has he got in it? What's he getting out of this? Whether it's a video on YouTube, whether it's a book you're reading, whether it's a seminar you're going to or a course you're doing, think about this. Most people are looking out for number one. Give you an example of myself. Why do I go out and clean windows? Why do I go out and cut grass or pressure wash or do commercial cleaning? I'll tell you why. Because I want people's money. Now, I've learned how to give a good service in order to get that, but my priority is to provide for my family. And so how do I provide for my family? I need money. So that's why I'm going out and going to work, is to get the money to provide for my family. So what is other people's motivation? Now, while I go out and do the work, the other day I got a text in the evening on Friday, and a customer said to me, thank you so much for the work that you did. It was a great job, really appreciated, because they weren't there during the day when I did the job. Now that was really good. It was really nice to be appreciated. It was nice to have a bit of gratitude. Somebody sending me a simple little text, and I appreciated it. But it wasn't the reason why I did the job. It's a bonus to be appreciated for the work you're doing, or the work you've done. But it's not the motivation. For me, it's not. The motivation is to provide for my family. And so when somebody is writing a book, or somebody makes a webinar or a seminar, or they make videos here on YouTube, or whether they write books, the priority for them is to look out for number one. They're looking at an opportunity of how can I make money for myself. Granted, they might have some information that is both practical and of use and beneficial to you or your business, but the reason they're doing it is not for the out of the goodness of their heart. The reason they're doing it is they are getting something out of it. The question you need to do is stop and ask the question, what is he getting out of it? And what is it that he's offering? So here's an example. If somebody come up to you on the street and offered you a plate of food, and they said to you, here, try some of this steak, and you look at it and say, hang on a second, that's not steak. You're saying it's steak, but it looks nothing like steak. It looks like dog food to me. Would you eat it just because that person said it was steak? Say, oh, here, try this lovely steak. Would you just go, okay, and take it? Or would you say, hang on a second, if somebody said, here, try this, would you stop and ask the question, what is it, first? That's my first question I'd be asked. Don't matter who it is coming up on the street. So I try and adopt this analogy in the kind of information people offer out there as well. Is that if somebody offered me food on the street, I'd say, well, hang on, what is it? What's in it? All right, okay, blah, blah, blah. And they give me the information and say, right, okay, it's steak, is it? Looking at it, looks like a meatball to me. Looks like a disgusting meatball to me. Would I eat it then? No, because I stopped in that moment, asked the question, what is it? And my mind, I used my thinking ability to try and add up the information that was there in front of me. The person says it's steak, and I looked at it and it looks nothing like steak. So something doesn't add up. So now, although the individual is selling steak, thanks, but no thanks. Why? Because I use my own thinking ability. I listen to the little voice in the back of my head telling me, hang on, whoa. This person is telling you it's steak. It's not. Just check it out. Look at the information here. And that's all I want to do is highlight with people in this video. And I'm just going to check how much time we spent. 11 minutes. Very good. Because I made this video before, but it went on for a half an hour. And I wasn't happy with that. So it's not that I've rehearsed it. It's just that it was just a way too long video. So the point of this video is stop and ask the question of what information are you getting? Ask yourself the question, what is that person's motivation for offering that information? And so how much of it is actually practical and how much of it is just filling the gaps? See, if I was to write a book about my experiences of starting a window cleaning business, I could write a fair bit, but I wouldn't imagine that it would be a very big book, right? So in order to make it seem like you're getting value for the money that I would be of the object I'm selling, I would try and bulk it out a bit, wouldn't I? Is that practical? Is that using thinking ability for you to think to yourself, oh, hang on a second, yeah, if I was to write that same book, I don't think I could fill out all those pages. So then really that tells me that maybe there's a third to 2/3 of the information is practical, but there's also a certain amount of the information that's not. Some of it has just been used to fill the gaps. And so then I use my own thinking ability and listen to my own voice in the back of my head, and I make my own decisions. Why? Because I've asked myself the kind of question already, what kind of man am I? You know, I said this question before, are you a man that works for the man? Or do you want to work for the man, or do you want to be the man? Well, if you're going to just accept anything that anybody tells you, then you work for the man. Because if you're in employment, you just do as you're told. You're paid from the neck down. Boss says, right, this is what I want you to do, X, Y, and Z, go do it. That's what you go do. If you're your own man, then you will stop and ask yourself the questions as to what is somebody's motivation. What are they getting out of it? What am I getting out of it? And take everything with a pinch of salt. So stop and ask yourself a question. What is John getting out of this video? I would rather you start right here and add up the information. Look at my channel and see to yourself, ask yourself the question, well, is John making money out of this? Some of my videos have little ads, okay, from monetization, but it's from the music that's in those ads. If you look at all my videos, not all my videos have ads. Why? Because it's only the one. I haven't signed up to monetize my channel yet. I never did start the channel for that purpose. I would imagine that at some point, if my channel was big enough and I was getting enough views and YouTube said to me, here, we'll give you some money, I would imagine that I would say okay. But for the moment, I'm happy enough just doing what I'm doing because it's just fun, and I'm just sharing my thoughts and opinions. So stop and ask yourself the question is, well, what's John getting out of this? How much information is what John's saying practical? Is he getting anything out of this? If not, well, then you'll understand that the motivation is for you to just try and promote thinking ability for yourself, to not just trust everybody at their word, and you'll benefit yourself in so many ways. So thanks very much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. It's just my thoughts and opinions. I see so many people that offer so much rubbish out there as kind of the means to save yourself, or the means to save your business or grow your business, or how to get rich. Oh, you want to be big and turn over so many thousand per year like me? Then listen to the information I've got. I'm the one with all the answers. That annoys the life out of me, because that person is so arrogant enough to think that they have all the answers. That's my opinion. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you want to hit the like button, let others know what you thought of this video. If you leave a comment, I will reply. And if you like what I'm talking about in these videos, hit the subscribe button, because I'm sure there'll be more of it along the way. So have a good day, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.